You're in the middle of a sentence and suddenly you say the wrong word, or you mix up your grammar, you mispronounce something, or your mind just goes completely blank. So, what do? You feel like the whole room is staring at you, waiting for what you'll do next. But here's what you need to know: mistakes don't define you, but how you respond to them does.
Hi everyone, we're the Shirfa sisters from Malaysia. Azima, Amnah, and me, Aisha, hosts of the My English Matters podcast. After spending 8 years in the UK as children, we know the importance of mastering a second language, so we created myenglishmatters.com as a platform to help second language learners learn to speak, write, and communicate in English with confidence through our online courses, classes, and workshops. To join our free course called Speaking with Confidence and get the latest updates about our programs, subscribe to our email list at myenglishmatters.com. And now, without further ado, let's get started.
Hello there and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the My English Matters podcast. I'm Amnah, your host for today's episode. So in this episode, I want to talk about something that every English learner, and honestly, every speaker has experienced at some point: making an embarrassing mistake while speaking. So you're in the middle of a sentence and suddenly you say the wrong word, or you mix up your grammar, or you mispronounce something, or your mind just goes completely blank. So what do? You feel like the whole room is staring at you, waiting for what you'll do next. But here's what you need to know: mistakes don't define you, but how you respond to them does. So let's talk about a few things you can do the next time you make an embarrassing mistake, whether it's in a meeting, a presentation, a live session, or just chatting with a colleague. Tip number 1: remember that most of the time people don't notice or they don't care. So you might have made a mistake, and that mistake replays in your head throughout your conversation or presentation. But the truth is, most people have already moved on. They are focused on what you're trying to say, not on how perfectly you say it. So if you say something wrong or you forget a word, just continue your sentence or rephrase it. You can say, "Sorry, let me say that again." Or you can say, "What I meant to say was," and just keep going. Don't over apologize. Don't make it a big deal, because confidence is built in how you recover. So recently, one of our students asked, "If I make a grammar mistake while speaking, should I correct myself on the spot, or should I just push through and keep going?" So what I said was, it depends. If you feel that correcting yourself will help you stay focused and avoid getting stuck, go ahead and make a quick correction and then move on. But if stopping to fix that mistake will interrupt your flow, it's okay to just keep going. So what matters most is that people understand you, not that every sentence is grammatically perfect. Speak with fluency first. You can always make a mental note to check the correct grammar later so that you don't repeat the same mistake next time. So I remember once during a live class with our students, I completely blanked out. So I knew what I wanted to say, but the words just wouldn't come. So I simply paused and said, "Okay, I forgot what I wanted to say. Maybe it'll come back to me later." So I shared this with our students because I wanted them, and I want you to know that even we, teachers who teach English as a second language, lose our train of thought sometimes, especially when we are live on video or live on stage. It happens, and it's completely normal. You don't need to make a big deal out of it. Tip number 2: use humor or honesty when it feels right. So if the mistake is obvious or it's kind of funny, just acknowledge it with a smile. You can say, "Well, that came out wrong." Or you can say, "My brain is working slower than usual today." And when I'm not feeling as clear headed as I usually am, I might even tell them and say, "I didn't get much sleep last night." So a little humor can ease the tension for both you and the listener. It also shows that you are human, which makes you even more relatable. So we've had people say to us, "Madam, people laugh at me when I speak English." What we say is, laugh with them. Now, if they're laughing to shame you or to make fun of you, then honestly, they're probably not worth your energy. But if they are laughing because it was genuinely a funny mistake, you don't have to take it personally. Laugh with them, acknowledge the mistake with some humor, and move on. Now, on that note about people laughing to shame you, here's something I always remind myself: people who understand the struggle, people who are confident and kind, they would not go out of their way to put you down. So if someone does try to shame you by laughing at you or saying something unkind, it's more of a reflection of them than it is of you. That doesn't mean we should see ourselves as better than others. It just means you get to choose whose opinions you value. You don't need to take input from people who aren't on the same path as you. You're learning, you're putting in the work, and you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. I've always admired people who can use humor to acknowledge their mistakes. They come across as confident, self assured, and relatable. It's a good reminder that we don't have to take ourselves too seriously all the time. Mistakes are part of life. Of course, it's important to read the room too. Not every situation calls for humor. You wouldn't want to make a joke in a serious or sensitive moment, like during a funeral, for example. Okay, tip three is to reframe it. It's not a failure, it's feedback. So when we make a mistake, our brain often says, I'm not good at this. I'll never improve. But what if you changed that to, I just learned something new. Now I know how to do better next time. So every time you make a mistake, you are learning, and those are often the lessons that stay with you the longest. Now imagine if your son or your daughter, or maybe a niece or a nephew, told you they made a mistake at school. Would you call them a failure? Would you say they'll never improve? Of course you wouldn't. You'd probably remind them that learning involves making mistakes. That is all part of the process. In fact, it's usually the embarrassing mistakes that stick with us the most. So instead of replaying those moments in your mind with shame, try reframing them as funny stories that taught you something valuable. And who knows, you might even share those moments with others to show that everyone makes mistakes and it's okay. I've often heard people say they welcome mistakes and failures because it means they're taking action and pushing themselves. The only way to grow is to learn and move forward. If you're not making mistakes, maybe you're not challenging yourself enough. Tip number four: practice recovering, not just performing. So, we often practice our presentations and speeches to be perfect, but real confidence also comes from practicing how to recover when things are not so perfect. Try this the next time you rehearse for an important presentation or meeting. Here are three ways that you can rehearse for these imperfect situations. Number one, intentionally pause and restart in the middle of your presentation. This helps you get used to regaining your flow. It trains you to sound natural or anticipate any hiccups or situations that may crop up, and you're required to restart a presentation. Number two, mix up your words on purpose. Then practice rephrasing your sentences. So practice your presentation again, but try using different words. It not only will help you get familiar with your content, but it will train you to explain things in different ways in case your listener asks for more clarification. And number three, you can also role play or act as if you made a mistake. Then practice how you respond. What would you say? How would you handle it calmly? Would you laugh it off? Or would you quickly correct yourself and get straight back to your point? So, by doing this, you're not just preparing for the ideal version of your talk, you're preparing for the unexpected too. You're preparing for the unexpected too. So, when a real glitch happens, you won't panic. You will be ready. So, I enjoy watching podcasters or content creators who record live videos, seeing how they handle tech issues, forget what they want to say, or even make embarrassing mistakes live on video gives me ideas on how I can respond when the same things happen to me. It's a great reminder that they are human too, just like all of us. And what I've noticed is that they usually acknowledge the problem calmly without panicking or judging themselves, and then they move on or they make a joke out of it. They stay focused on what really matters, the message they're trying to share, not the mistakes they make. So there you have it, 4 tips on what to do when you make an embarrassing mistake. Tip number 1, remember that most of the time people don't notice or they don't care. Tip number 2, use humor or honesty when it feels right. Tip number 3, reframe it. It's not a failure, it's feedback. And tip number 4, practice recovering, not just performing. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to get your message across. You just need to keep going, keep practicing, and keep speaking until you deliver your message. So the next time you make a mistake, smile, take a breath, and carry on. You are learning, you're growing, and you are doing better than you think. You've got this. All right, before I go, I wanted you to know that we are going to have a live workshop here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and we'd love to have you join us. It's going to be on Saturday and Sunday, 10 and 11 May 2025, and it's called Speak to Connect. So this workshop will be for a small group of up to 30 people who want to build confidence and master conversations, presentations, and impromptu speaking. We'll also talk about handling tough questions in interviews and more. We have opened registration for early bird tickets, so if you are interested, do check your email for the link to join if you are an email subscriber. If you're not yet an email subscriber, what are you waiting for? Just drop us an email at info@myenglishmatters.com for more information, or subscribe to our emails at myenglishmatters.com. Early bird tickets will expire soon, so make sure you register before the price goes up. So that's all from me for today, and I hope to see you in Kuala Lumpur, or I'll see you in our next episode. Bye for now, and Assalamu alaikum.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the My English Matters podcast. Please make sure to click the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and leave a review of this podcast if you like it. If you'd like to learn even more with us, we have a free training called Speaking with Confidence, where we send 7 tips to your email. You'll also get weekly emails with tips and lessons to help you improve your English. Join us at myenglishmatters.com.